Well, we've got all the papers here with us, but we don't have all the consolidated for. Mama V is here, though, and of course, you take the place of at least three of us.
Yeah.
On any good day, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are still some local banks standing, right? So that will be you and I.
That's right.
Yeah, and then when we can't hold it together, we'll be consolidated. But at least for now, we're covered.
We are, aren't we? It's nice to see you. How are you?
Yeah, you too. I'm good.
Excellent. All right. Well, so many papers. So why don't we run through the headlines quickly and then settle for some details? I have the Daily Guide, the Finder, the Dispatch. I'll probably do the Statesman and the Today newspaper as well.
I'll stick to the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times.
All right, then. Keeping it limited. All right, then. So Daily Guide has these. All set for Kofi Annan burial at Burma camp. Also on the front page of the Daily Guide. Don't use my name, Rawlings warns NDC. NDC to sanction Anyidoho is another headline. And double track takes off smoothly. Let's have a look at the front page. It looks a little something like this this Wednesday morning. All right. Oh, there you go. Much closer view for you. On the front page of the Finder newspaper, a number of headlines, including high turnout at SHSs as freshers report to school for double track system. That's the banner headline. We also have AGI kicks against 5% flat rate tax. First batch of pilgrims arrive in Accra, and this is about the Hajj. And also, better version of double track system at Wesley Girls and University Practice SHS. I'll tell you the details of that one in a moment. And the final one on the front page, GBC should be restructured, according to Ampim Darko. It's looking like this morning, and that is the Finder newspaper. There you go. Right then, the Dispatch is the last one I'll do for now, and it says, World Bank cautions Ghana on its $2 billion bauxite deal with China. It must bring positive results to Ghana or else. That's the banner headline. We also have 10 things you need to know about diabetes. It's a very well-written article, actually, about an important condition. Also, what you must know about folic acid is in the Daily Dispatch today. Mama V.
Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page, double track takes off. Some first-year students arriving at the St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast. That's what the paper says. Also, special supplement on Kofi Annan is in the inside pages of the Daily Graphic today. But here's the thing. Bank of Ghana injects more dollars into economy. I guess essentially to arrest the city. That's already, moving around everywhere. Back page of the Daily Graphic, SARI introduces new technology to boost yam production. That's the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research at Nyampala in the northern region. And then some vegetable oils dangerous to consumers' health. That's according to Professor Akosa, and that's for the Daily Graphic newspaper in terms of what's on the front and back. But let's move on to the Ghanaian Times front page. World mourns Kofi Annan. Flood. Bagri Dam spillage destroys 7,000 hectares of crops, and there's a special pullout on Kofi Annan also in the inside pages, just like the Daily Graphic has it today. Back page is that Bagri Dam and the flats. That story is on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. And then constructs Pwalugu multi-purpose dam to care perennial flats. And Naba Adoni making that call. The story is on the back page of the Times.
Right, well, Ravi, just quickly, if I can run through the headlines of the other papers, and then we can settle for the ones we chose. Daily Statesman says, double track SHS takes off successfully. Ghana mourns Kofi Annan. And then in the corner, premixed fuel dealers urged to stop diversion of products. The Today newspaper has 5,645 workers to lose jobs in Tema. I don't support any candidate. That's Rawlings. OT region coming as the paramount chief educates his people. And banner headline, Baumia is failure according to Nyaho Tamaklo. Daily Heritage, government to demolish 434 structures at Abu Bulushi, 1,118 residents affected. Amnesty International criticizes the move. Labadi Beach Hotel hosts Miss Universe on Saturday. Thousands pay last respect to Kofi Annan, and Krowo MP schools 1,304 students at second annual free pre-SHS classes. Finally, the publisher. Kofi Annan's last wish. Ghanaians angry over closed casket. That's the banner headline. Also, New Regions lands in court. I saved Mahama's life, according to Reverend Owusu Bempa. And I have no candidate. That's Rawlings speaking. Some details?
Yes, let's talk about dollars and the economy. This is taken from the Daily Graphic newspaper on page 3. It says the Bank of Ghana has stepped up its supply of US dollars to meet daily demands for foreign exchange as global pressures and the exit of investors from emerging markets cause the cedi to depreciate. And according to a source at the Bank of Ghana, the central bank had sold $157 million to banks this month, while in August this year, it pumped in $283.4 million sale to the banks. The move is to stem the growing depreciation of the cedi, which has dropped by 6.9% this year, more than the cumulative depreciation of 4.7% for the whole of 2017. Somebody's got to stop the cedi.
Yeah. So this is demand and supply, isn't it? If there's more of it, then the price should come down. So that's the idea. They want to make sure there's enough of it in the market so that there isn't scarcity, which causes the price of the dollar to go up. But the interesting thing is that the Daily Graphic also says that they checked with several banks, and the banks have been selling dollars to their customers without any awareness of a shortage. So, I mean, this extra dollars that the Bank of Ghana has sold to them, it's not because they were lacking dollars or there was a shortage in demand. They are suggesting that the poor performance of the cedi is down to perhaps other factors.
It's not because we don't have dollars in the system.
Yeah, that's the indication that they're making from that report. But it's worrying. If the Bank of Ghana thinks this is the solution, but the reality on the ground is telling a different story, then the question is, does the Bank of Ghana have their finger on the pulse, and are they actually on the way to solving the problem? People continue to accuse Dr. Baumia of not speaking on the cedi, which used to be one of his favorite subjects to speak on. But he has said one thing, hasn't he? I believe he said it a couple of times, that this government's performance in managing the cedi has been better than the previous government.
Yeah. But what's the result? What are we seeing? What are we experiencing? I guess that's a better measure to whatever is being done. But right now, I heard you say that the cedi is on bail. Yeah, it's like the cedi is on bail, but we can't even find it. You know, like whoever released the cedi on bail, we can't find it to even arrest it. Yeah. It's interesting, really interesting, but we need people to be speaking. We need to know what is happening, because if it's not the dollar, dollar is already available, except that it is very expensive. Those who melted down in cities are making a lot of money, so our city is suffering continuously. It's almost hitting 5 now, if it's not there. If you go onto the black market, you can get that much. Yeah.
4.95.
I changed 4.98.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It comes really close. So, well. Okay, this story, mourners pay last respect to Kofi Annan. A heartbroken nation yesterday began an elaborate program to say a final goodbye to the late Kofi Annan, with hundreds of mourners turning up at the Accra International Conference Center to pay their last respect to the man who was the first sub-Saharan African to head the United Nations. However, the mourners, many of whom went to the funeral grounds with sorrow etched on their faces over the loss of the former UN General Secretary or Secretary General, Nobel Peace Laureate, were disappointed when they entered the foyer of the AICC and found the casket, which was draped in national colors, closed, leaving them with no choice but to file past the caskets. Now, we have to pause here a bit and talk about what we are experiencing, where some people say this is not our tradition, because usually when people say they're going to pay their last respect, they see the body. So people wanted to see the body, but the casket has not been opened. And that's generating some kind of conversations. I heard people say that, then what's the point? Why do I have to go to the conference
But
center?
is this I want to distinguish between what is our culture and what has become a norm over time. You know, I would love to speak to traditionalists who can educate us and explain whether the viewing of the, you know, the filing past of the body, first of all, whether that act itself is
traditional
Ghanaian culture or whether it's something we borrowed from the West. And secondly, I would love to know whether or not the exposure of the body is a prerequisite. Because there are cases in which, you know, people have died through violence and there's really no face to view. So how do their funerals happen? You know? So yeah, I would love some education.
Well, but we know that this was a different case.
Of course, we know that
he fell ill for a while,
yes.
and then he died.
But we also need to know whether it was his own wish that his casket be closed, or whether it's his family's wish. Yeah, it would be useful to learn something. What Maxwell Agbagba uncovered yesterday when he spoke to members of the funeral planning committee was that it was the committee that made the decision. But I wonder, can the committee make a decision that binds the family? Or was the family actually the ones who wanted the casket closed? And then, of course, the conspiracy theorists have been throwing out their own ideas. I heard somebody say yesterday that, oh, he's already been cremated. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know that one. No. So okay, well, so that's it. Professor Jampo was certainly not happy about this when he visited the conference center yesterday, and in speaking to Maxwell Agbagba, I think he first made it, you know, went public with what he had seen, and then subsequently the Deputy Information Minister reacted, and that's what he shared with us. So we'll see. It's day 2. We still encourage people to go to the conference center. We certainly will be there live this morning. But one last story, and then I'll leave it for you. The Ghanaian Times newspaper back page is this story. More than 7 hectares of farmland of crops such as maize, rice, millet, granules have been destroyed in various communities in the Upper East region as a result of this year's torrential rains and the spillage of the Bagri Dam in Burkina Faso. It's floods and is the dam being opened. That's disaster right there. Apart from the destruction of the crops, many of the affected communities have their houses collapsed, compelling majority of them to seek refuge in classrooms with their relatives. And this, they say, came to light when the Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture in charge of crops, including some key staff of the ministry, paid working visit to some of the affected communities to interact with the affected farmers and to see how the government could help. Now that's where we have a problem. At least the spillage happens, it's a regular thing, and we still have officials going around to want to see so they can come up with an intervention. For how long can we continue this cycle?
Well, I don't know about you, but I think at a point I get fatigued discussing.
I do too.
Yeah, problems that come up every year.
Yeah.
You know, I made this comment yesterday, two days ago when I was talking with Roland about how it seems that as a people, our problem, we are not thinking fast enough to overtake our problems. So they keep coming around. It's like, you know, when you, I don't know if you ever watched the track events in school, where perhaps they're doing the 10,000 meters, and the people in the lead are so fast that at some point they go around and come back and overtake those at the back of the and our problems are doing that to us. They are lapping us every year. They go around and come back, and we are still exactly where we are, and they come and overtake us again. It's shameful. I wish we could do something.
Officials
better.
pretending that they're paying working visits and going to see situations that we've experienced over the years. They spend money. They actually spend money going around and saying that they are interacting with them to see, seriously?
To learn what?
We're still interacting when this has been a situation that has persisted.
It's a joke. I mean, honestly, if somebody responsible doesn't get angry the next time officials gather themselves into a helicopter to go and fly over a disaster that happened last year, you know, if somebody in charge doesn't start getting angry, you know, you never know at what point the people will start getting angry and force you to take actions that you really could have avoided.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody wants that. Well, honestly, we're smarter than this. Let's not let our problems keep overtaking us.
The pull-up in the center spread, though, is one for keeps. The Daily Graphic. Listen, what Mr. Annan has done for Ghana is something that we will not experience. I mean, we won't experience something like this, you can say, for sure, forever. We will see another face of Ghanaians shining in other in other things. But what he has done, rising to that level, bringing that focus on us as Ghanaians, we will never see that happen. So you've got to grab the papers and keep them.
I wish we would see some more of that happen in the future. But
no, I mean, I think that we will, but I mean, there won't be any other Kofi Annan. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Yeah. That is true. There's only one.
Yeah, there's only one Kofi Annan. So you can see some pictures. They've brought back some of the memories, some of the nice pictures that you want to keep and share with your children, your children's children. That's all I'm saying. I think the Times also has some. And today we'll play our documentary on him as well. He was a great man. He lived well. He did well. He did amazing, not only for himself, but for the entire nation and the world as well.
A wonderful example for our children, right?
Yeah.
Somebody to teach our kids about.
Absolutely.
All right, Mama V, I have this story in the Finder newspaper. I wonder what you think of it. But the headline is Better Version of Double Track System at Wesley Girls and University Practice SHS. I saw this story on myjoyonline.com as well. So the regular double track is
the gold and the green.
Gold track, green track. So for every class, we'll have a gold track and a green track. So if it's a general arts class, for example, the gold track has just started, the green track will start in November, and then the calendar follows. But at Wesley Girls and University Practice SHS, they are doing something slightly different, okay? So for example, students reading business and general arts courses at University Practice SHS have begun the year, while students for the other programs will wait. So business and general arts, they've started, okay, because they believe that their subjects are similar and the same teachers will be handling them. But then the teachers for the other subjects, sciences and so forth, they are not in school until November. And they say this is a better version. Do you think so?
You know, when the, Richard Konyanyako reported on this yesterday, and when I heard it, I was like, what kind of system are we running now? Are the schools allowed to decide how they want to run the tracks?
Apparently, the Ghana Education Service has approved this method.
So for only business students or arts students at any particular time to be in school, and those who are doing science, who are doing other courses will come later. Like I don't know what to make of it.
I want to know what the advantage is over the other system. Because if there is an advantage, then let's consider it. But is there an advantage? Why is this better?
Maybe I'm not sure. I think it's the school that can better explain.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I didn't think the track was that flexible for schools to decide how they want to run it. I thought that we had all decided that if you're on green, it doesn't matter if you're doing science, if you're doing visual art, home econs, you are in school at some point. And then later on in November, the other track would come. Yeah. But now we seem to have. So why don't we, if that is workable, why don't we run it across board instead of schools deciding to
it's better, you know. Yeah. But the thing is, when there is a lack of uniformity, how does that affect exams? You know, that's the thing I'm wondering about. So in certain schools, depending on which school you are sent to, if you're a science student, then you don't start yet. While in all other schools, there will be some science students starting, others coming later. So I wonder how it affects exams, whether in fact it does have any effect on exams or not. I'm baffled.
Well, I am as well. I think as you're talking, like I'm thinking about a few things. I want to have an open mind to this, maybe we should allow them to run it as a module, and let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be so bad. So when all science students are on break, you can have teachers teach them, and you know that you have all science students
on break.
So you can dedicate your science and math teachers to them. But how about the core subjects? I mean, there are core subjects
Maths,
that run
English.
across. Yeah.
Yeah, what happens there?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would just love some education. I want someone to explain to me why this one is better, you know, but if it's better, then obviously we ought to consider it. GBC should be restructured according to Ampim Darko. He is just concerned that there are too many workers at the GBC who are either duplicating duties or just surplus to requirement. And he says that the workers themselves are willing to participate in some restructuring. He, of course, is a former
so I was going to say that, why don't they come up with these suggestions when they are Director General?
Yeah,
when they have the opportunity to be in leadership to make the decision.
I think it was during his reflective time of retirement.
Yeah, easy to say.
These ideas came to him.
We don't need the ideas when you're out of power, if you like. When you're in leadership position at the entity, come up with what you think is workable and execute it. Let's see how far you go with it. But when you're out, you've retired, please stay in your one corner.
So, Mamavi, did you hear of the Young Democratic Forces?
Which one's that?
Yeah, apparently it's a group, a pressure group, purported to be aligned to the opposition NDC, but they have been calling for General Mosquito, the General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia, to resign. The party has a suspicion that it is Koku Anyido who is behind this group. But interestingly, their reaction is that they will sanction Koku Anyido if this is the case.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. That's what they're saying. They've had a press release. They say the party bemoans the involvement of some high-ranking executives in this grand scheme to mudsling fellow comrades under the possible influence of the opposition NPP. So they have dragged the NPP in there somehow. And they say it gives credence to the long-held position by true members of the current crop of executives that some of those we trusted were bought mercenaries of our sworn political opponents. So basically this press release from the executives of the NDC, of whom Koku Anyido is a member, is suggesting that some of the executives of the NDC were bought by the NPP. Yeah, fun and games. Anyway, these problems will probably exacerbate as the time comes nearer.
Absolutely. October is just around the corner.
Indeed. Okay, so Mamavi, what do you know about diabetes?
As for diabetes, I will not pretend that I know a lot more than you do, so I won't say death.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, what should we know?
Well, you know, I'm diabetic. I've been diabetic since 2007, and Joy FM has a sugar project which tries to educate people and give people the chance to test for diabetes free of charge. There's a big event coming up soon called the Pop Chain concert to raise money for the sugar project. They'll come through and we'll learn a bit more about it. But this article in the Daily Dispatch has laid out some 10 facts that they feel people ought to know about diabetes. And I won't expand on them, but I'll list them if that's useful. The first one is that everyone's situation is different. So no two diabetics are the same. 2, diabetes isn't always caused by sugar consumption. You know, a lot of people think if you eat a lot of sugar, you become diabetic. But no, there can be other factors. You know, you can inherit it and so forth. 3, those with diabetes don't want to be labeled. I think people who have conditions just generally don't want
to be labeled, meaning
as
what?
diabetics. They don't want to be called diabetics.
Okay, so what is the right way to...
Well,
you don't have to refer to them as with any other name. Just call me Kojo.
Yes, and I think the reason is that diabetes is not, it doesn't cripple you, it doesn't make you, There's nothing visible about the fact that you have diabetes. So people don't want to be referred to as diabetics, as if it is some sort of distinguishing factor that makes them different from everyone else.
Okay.
Because once a person with diabetes takes his medication, he's just like you. You know, the point, being diabetic means that your body is not producing insulin to process the sugar in your food.
Okay.
So if you inject insulin into your body, or you take a tablet to improve the production of insulin,
you're good
then
to
you
go.
are, you know.
Okay, so you can't say persons living with diabetes.
They don't want to be labeled as such. I mean, I am perhaps a bit different because I want to use my condition to educate people. So I am happy to be referred to as a person with diabetes.
Okay.
I don't mind, but generally it's not what they prefer. Let's list a few more. There are differences between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. I think that's known. 5, there is no cure. This is important.
There's absolutely no cure?
I know there are people working on a vaccine, but once you get it, there is no cure.
So what, you just have to manage it?
You just have to manage it for the rest of your life. But this is important, Mama V, because people advertise and sell drugs that they claim can cure diabetes. It's not true. All right? I'm diabetic. My pancreas doesn't work. The pancreas is dead. That's the organ that releases insulin. It doesn't work.
So
it's
what?
dead.
So what do you regularly have to do?
I take injections.
Okay.
Other people take tablets. I take 2 injections a day. But the point is this: if my pancreas is dead, yet an organ in your body is dead, how can you take medicine to wake it up? Is that possible?
Well, you know, there's faith, there's hope.
That thing is dead. It's dead. Okay, let's be clear. All right. So what you do is you take medicine to replace the function.
Why don't you replace that now? I am feeling uncomfortable. It's not functioning properly.
All right then, but either way, the thing cannot be revived. So if somebody tells you that he is selling a drug that will revive it, they are not
Don't
telling you
believe
the
it.
truth.
They just want your money.
Yeah, what you need is to take medication that will replace the function of that pancreas.
Okay. So do you have to go to a facility to get the injection?
No. I carry them around myself.
Okay.
I inject myself twice a day.
And then you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Should other persons around you know something so that if you're in crisis, God forbid, you know?
Yes. I mean, it's not the kind of thing where you be taken suddenly ill.
Okay.
Normally you see the symptoms coming, normally. So what you can tell people around you is that, look, if I get low blood sugar, I need to eat something with sugar to bring it back up.
Okay.
You know, so keep some sugar around. But most importantly, diet is the best way to manage diabetes. So when you have close friends with whom you eat all the time, they need to know what is good for you and what is not good for you. So they are not always taking you to the fufu, joint every single day. You can eat it sometimes, but not every day.
Okay.
So once they understand generally what your condition is, they can be more sensitive to you, and then you end up being healthier. Right. There's no cure. It costs a lot of money to have diabetes.
It's expensive?
Oh my God.
I said, no way. It costs a lot of money to have it or to manage it.
To manage it. I think that's what they're trying to say. Yeah.
Like how much?
Oh, Mama V. So I said I take 2 injections a day. That means I have 2 separate injections. I take 1 of each. Now, each of those injections costs 95 cedis. And you can get maybe 5 shots out of it.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm buying one of these things every 5 days.
For 5 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's expensive. But it should not be, because according to the NHIA, diabetes is one of the conditions covered. So if you have it, your medication should be free.
Okay, but is it?
Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't.
Wow.
But it should be.
So it's expensive.
Yes, and it's not expensive all around the world. It's particularly expensive here in Ghana. 7, it's a challenge. I think that's obvious. 8, you can eat sugar. You can. Everything you eat contains some sugar. Okay, so you can't avoid it. But the point is that you want to limit or minimize the amount of sugar you eat, and you certainly don't want to add sugar to the things you eat.
Okay, is coffee good for you?
Coffee is fine as long as I'm not, throwing.
Okay,
in
now I'm talking
5
about you.
spoons of sugar. Yeah. 9, diabetes is impossible to control. It's possible to manage.
Wait,
but not
what's the difference
control.
between controlling and managing?
So diabetes means that your blood sugar levels keep going up and down. That's the real symptom of it. And you can't always control it. So no matter how well you take your medicine, there will be some days when your blood sugar will go too high or it will come too low. You can't really be in control of it all the time, but you can certainly manage it, which means that most days you are totally fine because you're taking your medication and eating well and exercising. And finally, you are not limited in your abilities when you have diabetes.
It doesn't affect your skills. It doesn't affect your talents
at all.
It doesn't make it impossible for you to execute
at all
anything.
If anything, for me, diabetes has made me healthier than I've ever been.
Yeah.
I used to be fat too. I used to be massive.
Really?
Yeah. I used to wear trouser size 40.
For real?
Yeah, I used to weigh 112 kilograms.
I'm trying to imagine that.
I was big, round. You know, I don't know who I can compare myself to.
So what,
I was big.
So this forced you,
Yes.
the revelation
Yes.
forced you to work on your weight.
And the way it set on for me was quite serious. I mean, it got very bad. I was in a coma for 2.5 months, woke up, and I was lucky to survive it. So for me, it was extreme because I didn't know I had it. So I kept doing the wrong things, eating, drinking sugar. So it almost killed me. But luckily, you know, it didn't.
Yeah.
So for me...
This is good education.
Yeah. For me, that's what caused me to, first of all, lose weight. But since then, through my medication and my healthy living, I've stayed.
I think we should find time and talk about this.
I agree.
And then open the phone lines. Maybe somebody would want you to share, you know, because when you've been through a certain situation, you are in a better place to give one piece of advice or the other to someone. So we will have this conversation. We'll activate the phone lines. We'll have an open conversation.
That'll be great.
We can also have a doctor with us.
That'll be very good.
You know,
That'll be very good.
So we're planning this.
Yeah. And
We have to do online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see what is on our big screen here. Mahama takes a swipe at Akufo-Addo's nepotism and bloated government. Details are there. Let's see what else. Government signs deal with international firm to boost revenue mobilization. So basically, they are bringing in an international firm to help them collect taxes. All right. NCA invites applications for 3 4G spectrum slots. Hey, I wonder whether MTN is going to go and grab it. Whether Vodafone is going to go and grab it. MTN has it already. How can we pay last respects to Anand's closed casket? That's the question being asked by disappointed mourners. Hey,
this situation is a bit controversial. Yeah. And I'll be at the Accra International Conference Center today. I will try and get some answers because there are some traditional authorities there. There's a whole delegation from Otumfuo, you know, so
they're
I will try
today,
and see.
Please,
they were there yesterday too.
Get us some education, we beg you. All right, Joy FM CD Forum, stemming tide of depressing CD depreciation. I'm really looking forward to this. It's our latest thought leadership event. It's happening at the Business School of the Economics Department, forgive me, of the University of Ghana. And of course, our colleagues Nick and Isinam have been working hard to organize that, make it happen. I can't wait. We will put national security on you, Minister tells DCEs and MCEs involved in Galamsey. Mama B, I want to say something. No, should I say it?
About Hajia?
Yes.
Hajia is on my heart, so.
I like Hajia very much.
Okay.
But if she knows people who are doing Galamsey and she doesn't report it to the police, she's committing a crime. I hope she knows that.
She's a lawyer. She certainly does.
All right then. Who else do we have? Oh yes, we've done the story. Better version of the double track system at Wesley Girls and University Practice SHS. And finally, global hunger increasing, and that is a warning from the United Nations. SAC consolidated bank staff to be engaged in alternative uses. Details of that also on myjoyonline.com. Some international news, Mama B?
Yeah, rocket fired at Tripoli airports. It's not over yet for Libya. Things are happening every day, and we still don't know who really is in charge of that country. Zimbabwe opposition plans mock swearing in.
Well,
We are place friendly for Liberia at 51. So he's
Wow.
retired his jersey, right? And the people in the country, so it was a big deal yesterday in Liberia. And Liberians, some critics keep asking the question, how does this put food on our table? How does this force, how does this solve all our basic challenges as Liberians? But, he's a footballer, and football means a lot. Not too long ago, we know that he honored the country, honored his former coach and former Arsenal coach as well. And that was a big talking point. So this is also one of the things that Liberians are talking about. Yep.
But is this even safe? I mean, in terms of national security, for the president to be running around where somebody can, slide tackle him?
He's comfortable in his skin. So he's retired a jersey. He was the biggest person, and what he achieved, nobody could achieve that in that jersey, so nobody's playing. Is it number 14? Benedict will confirm. Is it number 14, Benedict? I think so.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot coming up on sports, which is next. Benedict, of course, will hopefully educate us on the wear jersey as well. But
I hope it's 14. I think it is.
We'll be learning about women's football as well. The African Women's Championship coming up. But there's even more. So stay tuned, Benedict.
Yeah, I won't be here though. I'm going off to the conference center, so I'm leaving you alone.
I'm going to be lonely.
With coffee.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes. Yes.
Stay with us. You're watching the AM show.